Hey everybody, welcome to the Hopcast.
Thanks for coming back, everybody.
I'm Brett Chmielewski,
My name is Ken Hunnemeder.
and it's almost pumpkin time.
Yeah, this is the first kind of chilly day of the season, where so it's just starting to get into the air, and coincidentally, we're just starting to see the harvest ales come out and some of the pumpkin beers.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't have stopped us either way, because these two beers are actually from last year.
But once you miss Halloween, it's November, it's Christmas, and then you're like, oh fuck, I got this pumpkin beer.
I'd say if the cutoff is probably Thanksgiving. If you miss that, then you're out of the pumpkins. You don't want to do them anymore. So I forgot I had these, and so we're gonna revisit them and see how they held up. Actually, I've had the Tyranena before. We have the Tyranena Painted Ladies Pumpkin Ale, and we also have one of the side projects from Terrapin, which was their Pumpkinfest. This was supposedly a one-time release, which most of these side projects are, but I think I heard that they're doing it again this year.
The whole round of them?
The Pumpkinfest thing.
No, we'll have to talk to Spike.
Shut up! But yeah, speaking of which, let's go ahead and start with the Terrapin. This one's kind of an interesting one, because it's a hybrid of styles. It's called Pumpkinfest, so leads you to believe
a party.
Yes, it leads you to believe that it's kind of half of a Oktoberfest and half pumpkin beer. So can't say usually you see pumpkin ales. This is actually a pumpkin lager. How about that?
Okay.
So let's crack this bad boy open and give it a little chat about it.
That looks like pumpkin in my glass.
That's right. True to form, you've got that orangey color as you would expect.
Yeah.
Very cloudy, pretty tough to see through. You can, but it's quite hazy.
Right, almost no head. Or yeah, no head.
Yeah, it was a little bit there if you kind of spun it around it a little bit, you get some, but
so we might have had
not
some
too
more
much.
last year with it.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps. But what's really knocking me out on this beer is this aroma. I mean, that the pumpkin is just coming through like crazy. But it's nicely balanced with that deep, rich malt structure that you'll typically find in an Oktoberfest beer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, forefront pumpkin and then that nice, rich malt at the back. It's really, really delicious smelling.
Yeah, I was saying that smell just makes me worried. It's getting cold.
I know.
Being jacket, mittens.
I'm pretty sure as soon as we take a sip of this, the summer is over.
Snow's falling. Santa shows up.
These leaves! Just like...
No.
But nonetheless, I think I'm willing
Should
to
we
risk
chance
it because it just smells too good.
Alright. Woo!
It's a little cold,
Yeah.
actually. I'm going to warm this guy up a little bit, but it's got that, the pumpkin flavor is very much like the aroma. It comes through just the same.
Yeah, I
Very
think
authentic pumpkin and pumpkin spice.
Yeah, I think the coldness to it is hurting the spiciness.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think it's also hurting the malt as well. Like some of those caramelly toasted notes aren't really reaching it.
so did you pick this up on the road trip?
I did.
No? Okay.
If you guys remember when we went down to the southeast, went down through Atlanta to Sweetwater, and we hit Terrapin as well, up through North Carolina. We got this on that road trip. I did read that some of the hops that they use on this is Vanguard and Hallertau, because they are more bitter without being very aromatic.
Okay.
I could see the reason for that being, sometimes these pumpkin beers get a little too sweet, so you want a bitterness with that, but you don't really want a hop aroma on this beer. You'd prefer to have that pumpkin really to come out. So I think he kind of chose his hops very wisely there. Also coming in around 7%.
Well, so that's pretty big for a lager too.
Yeah, for an Oktoberfest type of lager, 7's I would say probably on the higher side, and maybe not out of the realm of possibility for pumpkin. I know we've had that Southern Tier that was probably 9 or 10, but that those guys are always off the charts with the
That's
ABV.
a whole nother league. Yeah. And that is the Punk King.
The Punk King, yes. But even just from warming the beer up a little bit in my hands, it's really kind of opening up here. But I like the idea that Spike had to kind of combine those two styles that come out every time of year.
Because they
your
are
Oktoberfest and your pumpkin ale.
They should have been. Like, why at the same time? Why hadn't this been thought of before?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think the flavor profiles they match and meld together very well. It's a really nice beer. I would say this is one of my favorite pumpkin beers. I can't even say pumpkin ales anymore because I'm drinking pumpkin lager.
yeah, I like that he didn't heavily spice it, like so many pumpkin beers are.
Yeah, that's what gets talked about a lot with pumpkin beers. One of the major turnoffs. Pumpkin beers, a lot of times are like really love them or hate them type of things. There's a lot of people out there that just can't do the pumpkin ale thing, and
There's some people that like the spicy
favorite
ones.
time of the year, you know.
Yeah, like what was that one we had on the first Halloween Hopcast?
That would be the Anheuser-Busch Jack's Pumpkin Spice.
I think that was also aged.
Yes.
By mistake.
Well,
or by not wanting to drink it.
Exactly. It was wasn't necessarily in the cellar. It was in the back of the fridge, and no one really reached for it all year, or maybe for a couple years. I'm not sure how long it was in there, but I think that was actually from my parents' fridge.
Okay.
So they picked it up one day thinking they were getting a great pumpkin ale, but little did they know. But speaking of the pumpkin, I also read that this one here, the Terrapin, this has about 1 pound of actual pumpkin per barrel. The one that we'll be doing next, which is part of the reason why we decided to go in this direction, we're looking at about 8 pounds per barrel.
Going pumpkin up.
So we're gonna upgrade our pumpkin to water ratio. So we're going not by ABV because they were the same, or not by hop profile because you're normally not really going to get a huge one in pumpkin beers. So we're going by pumpkin.
All right.
But this was really great beer. I really enjoyed it.
No, yeah, I like it. Mine's almost gone. Shit.
So nicely done, Spike. And yeah, we'll be back, and I can't wait to open another one. This is great.
Well, that beer held up well.
It really did. 7% beer hanging on for a year, and I really could detect no signs of oxidation or just kind of old age at all. It was really nice.
We might have had some bitterness mellow out, but
that's perhaps. But neither one of us had tried it before, so we didn't really have it anything to compare it to. But this one from Tyranena I have had before, and I'm excited to try this one because I really enjoyed this one from last year's crop of pumpkin ales that came out.
The patch, sure.
Yeah, of all the ones that I bought last year, which I bought quite a few, this one kind of stood out to me as above and beyond. So looking forward to revisiting it. So let's go ahead and check it out. This one is 7.5 roughly, so a little bit higher in ABV than the Pumpkinfest. And this is kind of just like a straight ahead, from what I remember, straight ahead pumpkin ale, but just had that nice incorporation of the spices into it. So let's pour it up.
Well, what do you think? Is that darker than the other one?
Yeah, I think it has more of like a ruby reddish type of hue to it.
Yours got a little smaller bottom. You got a smaller bottom over there.
Well, you got a smaller bottom over there.
But no head again, which is probably an age thing.
It could be.
You go bald with age. That's just what happens.
But also, I think, that the aroma may be lacking a little bit from just that year of age. You can kind of get that musty quality. At least I'm picking it up from, some of your aged beers. If you've ever tasted them before, it has kind of that little like basement floor type of scent to it. You know what I mean?
But the spices want to come out, so I'm wondering if they're going to be there in the taste.
Right, yeah. I remember this to be much more aromatic with the spices when it was fresh, which you can expect. But we'll see how the flavor goes.
Let's see.
Cheers. I think also that this one is affected a little bit more by the age than the Terrapin was, for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's I guess that's surprising.
Yeah, this one's slightly higher in ABV than the Terrapin, but didn't hold up quite as well.
Yeah, it's almost tasting watery at this point.
Here's a thought.
Okay.
Terrapin uses pop-offs, and Tyranena uses twist-offs.
Oh, you think there's a bit of air?
Maybe some of that air is sneaking in, so that's a lesson to be learned.
Okay.
I noticed that, and I just noticed this the other day, that Goose Island was always twist-off, and they switched to pop-off.
Okay.
I don't know when they did it, but I opened a Harvest Ale the other day, and I was like, when did this happen? Because I sat there and tried to open it with my hand
really?
like I normally
Was that
do.
recently? I thought they switched a while ago.
Maybe I just didn't notice it until.
Oh.
But
You haven't had a bottle of Goose Island? It's always been on tap?
well, it's like with Goose Island, they were always they were twist off, but they were always the hardest to open. So I always just used the bottle opener anyways. So I think it took me a little while. In order to open one, I could never do it with my bare hand. I always had to do it with like a towel or my shirt or something.
Okay. I just always reach for the opener and don't even think that it could be a twist off.
Yeah.
So.
But I think this one is certainly, it came out much better when it was fresh. I look forward to picking it up again because
It should be in stores probably now or at least soon.
Yeah, they've been coming out with these fall beers earlier and earlier, it seems. I mean, had a lot of them hitting the shelf like 3 weeks ago, beginning of August.
Yeah, the Pumpkin, like mentioned that before, that's already there, and I bet that's gone before the end of the month. I bet it's gone even before October happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's like by the time you want it, too late.
You should have stocked up when you had the chance.
Damn it.
Yeah, but this is certainly. I agree with you when you said it was watery. It's just kind of like lacking body at this point. Usually that kind of doesn't change. But I remember it being a little bit more of a fuller beer last year when I had it fresh. But certainly something to look out for. I will vouch for it. If you get it fresh, it's quite a nice beer. Tyranena is out of Lake Mills, Wisconsin, so depending on where you are, it might be a little bit more difficult to find.
Right, and we've talked to them about coming up for a tour or something, so you might see us there soon.
We do see some of their beers here in the Chicago market, but not all of their beers. We were at the Windy City trade show.
Shut up!
So thank you so much for having us there. That was a lot of fun.
But we had their pale ale, right?
Yeah, it was their like Stone Teepee Pale Ale or something like that, which we don't get in this market. But it was really, really tasty stuff. Yeah. So we're kind of like lobbying for them to start distributing that over here, so we can
sign the Hopcast position.
But until then, we'll venture up into Wisconsin and take their tour and talk to some peeps over there and probably hit New Glarus on the way.
Yeah, cool.
So and maybe some furthermore action. I think they're all kind of up that way.
Yeah, definitely good breweries in Wisconsin. So
for sure.
Yeah, our miss on the aged one here doesn't mean that.
And don't get discouraged. Continue to age your beers. Just continue the right ones. This one I did.
So we're thinking it could be the twist off, right? So I wonder if that's
it could be
something to think about for people. If you notice it's a twist off, don't age it because you could get something in there.
I think it's
or tape them up.
I mean, certainly some beers could hold up to that. Like if you're really drinking, a much bigger beer than 7.5, if you're up around 9%, it might be able to hold up more to that. But I think this is kind of susceptible to the aging and that oxidation, just because it's a little bit lower.
But you probably wouldn't see a twist off at 9.
You could. I mean, Bourbon County Stout was always in those twists. And
okay, true, yeah.
Does Founders do twists as well? Or did they recently? They may have recently switched.
Yeah.
So I think I have some old Dirty Bastards that are twists. We could open those up and find out. Those are a couple years old, I think, at this point.
Interesting.
So yeah, I mean it's up for debate, but I think the proof is in the pudding. You're seeing some of these breweries switch over from the twist to.
And if you're really serious about aging it, you might want to tape them, put some electrical tape on top, or
if you're really serious, you could wax your own bottles.
I'll wax your own bottles.
They're on the stovetop. You can, if you go to your local homebrew store, you can find the wax beads, or sometimes you could just order online or something like that. Just sit there on the stovetop, dip them in, let them, and
right. If you really plan like you're giving one like baby born or something, like 21st birthday, we're having this. Like, go ahead and wax that and put that away, because something. It's
not a bad idea. I mean, it could be a fun afternoon, and it could serve purposeful. But yeah, 'tis the season for some pumpkin beers, and I quite enjoyed them.
I really like the Pumpkinfest. So
even though we have to say goodbye to summer and our days at the beach,
frolicking.
It's worth it for some harvest ales and some pumpkin beers, and Oktoberfest as well. So cheers, and hope you guys have a great fall.
Thanks for watching.